Part 2, The Hunt Begins. Emily's scream caught in her throat as the figure loomed over her. She jerked free from its icy grasp, stumbling backward toward the tree line. The twisted face, the grotesque mask of shifting skin, seemed to ripple with an inhuman smile. Emily. Mark's voice echoed in the distance, but it was distorted, like a broken radio signal, and she couldn't tell if it was real or part of her terror. Her legs felt like lead as she forced herself to run, the sound of her frantic breathing and pounding heart drowning out all else. Branches clawed at her arms and face as she crashed into the forest, the moonlight barely penetrating the dense canopy. Behind her, the forest was alive with movement, footsteps, growls, unnatural sounds that made her skin crawl. The whispers, cold and sharp, seemed to slither through the trees. Run, run, run. She could still hear Mark's desperate command, but the fear gnawing at her chest told her that he was gone, and something wanted her next. The path ahead was unclear, her vision blurred with tears. Panic made her stumble over roots and rocks, her limbs aching from the effort of escaping the nightmare behind her. The grotesque figure was chasing her, its movements erratic, the air thick with the scent of earth and decay. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet gave way. Emily screamed as she tumbled down a steep slope, her body crashing through the undergrowth. She landed hard, her breath knocked from her lungs as she sprawled in a shallow ravine. The forest was eerily quiet, except for the distant rustling, growing closer. Her body screamed in pain, but the primal instinct to survive forced her to her feet. She spotted a narrow cave opening ahead, partially concealed by thick vines. Without thinking, she darted inside, pressing herself against the cold stone. Her entire body shook, her breath ragged. The forest outside was deathly silent. No more footsteps. No more whispers. Just the oppressive weight of the dark, as if the trees themselves were watching. For a moment, Emily allowed herself to hope she had escaped. But then the silence was broken by the slow, deliberate sound of something heavy moving through the undergrowth, something dragging itself closer. A shadow passed over the cave entrance. Emily held her breath, her heart hammering so loudly she was sure it would give her away. Through the gap in the vines, she saw a pair of feet, twisted and clawed, standing just outside. The creature paused, sniffing the air, its raspy breathing sending chills down her spine. She shut her eyes, praying it wouldn't find her. But then, with a low, guttural growl, it spoke, the voice chillingly familiar. Emily. You can't hide forever. Her eyes snapped open. That voice, it was Mark's, but warped, corrupted, a mockery of what he once was. Tears filled her eyes as she realized the truth. The Skinwalker had taken him. The figure moved on, its footsteps fading into the distance. Emily waited, her body trembling uncontrollably, until the forest was once again silent. Slowly, she crawled from the cave, her body stiff and sore. There was no sign of the creature, no sign of Mark, only the endless, looming darkness of the forest. But she wasn't safe. Not yet. Gathering her strength, Emily forced herself to move deeper into the woods. The creature might have let her go for now, but she knew it was only playing with her, drawing out the hunt, and she wasn't sure how much longer she could run. As she stumbled through the trees, a new thought took hold, sending icy tendrils of dread through her. What if this forest wasn't just home to one Skinwalker? What if there were more, watching her from the shadows, waiting for their turn? The full moon hung high overhead, its cold gaze unblinking as the hunt began anew.